Okay, so we're here in lesson 1 of week 6, working on our summative. And I'm going to go over the directions with you, make sure you guys know what to do, and then you guys can get started. Thank you for clicking on this video and watching me. I'm so flattered you use your time like that for me. Looking at lesson 1, we're going to be typing the rest of our narrative essay summative, and we're going to be highlighting each section in our narrative. So that includes our incident, our response, and our reflection. And you can see the colors, we're going to highlight them. We're going to make sure we stick to those colors and use the light version of the colors so it's still easy to read. All right, there's a reminder here about what those 3 things are. An incident introduces the characters and the setting, right, the exposition. And it also tells what happened to the main character. That would be the rising actions, the things that happen to your character as the story progresses. Then we also have the response. The response is going to be the immediate actions or emotions of the main character. And that also includes like the climax, so like that really pivotal moment, that turning point. How did you respond to that thing that happened to you? How did you feel? What actions did you take? What were you thinking about? Those would all be things that go inside the response, as well as any following actions, which would be like the consequences of what happened. What's the next thing that happened after that? What did you do after that point, as we get towards the end of our story, right, and wrapping it up. And then the last thing included in your narrative is the reflection. And the reflection is going to be that part that explains the end of the story. So what happened in the end? What was that final result of your story? But also really focusing in on what did you learn, right? What did you learn from this experience? And also, right, what could your audience, your readers, learn from your story? What would be a life lesson, something that they can take away with them as they continue on the journeys of their life, right? So that they either don't make the mistake that you made, or they do make the good choices that you made, depending on what your story was about. Right. So if we're going to be doing this, we're going to need to find our narrative summative. Got to go to Google Classroom, find the one that says narrative essay summative. Should be in this week's. And we're going to click open our draft here. All right. If you're in my class, you also have a copy of my draft. I'm going to go ahead and open that so that I can show you guys how to do the highlighting. All right, the highlighting is pretty simple. The incident is going to be light blue. So where I'm introducing my characters, I just got to make sure that that's light blue. And then also I have this point where I'm telling what happened, like the order of the events, what happened. And I'm showing, not telling. That's why this is so long. I probably have like 4 or 5 rising actions. So that's what these are. I'm going to highlight them blue. And you'll just notice it's long because I added a lot of description and details about, what did I see? How did I feel? Those details are going to make it more interesting for my reader. And that's also the reason why it looks so much longer than my graphic organizer did, right? Because I don't want my story to look like a graphic organizer. That means that I'm telling, I'm not showing. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We have our response here, where I talked about, what was my response to what happened? How did I react? What was my actions? How did I feel? We're going to highlight that yellow like that. And then the last part is the reflection. I talked about like what happened in the end, Well, in the end, I just kept going on roller coasters, right? I felt good about it, felt better. So I'll make sure I tell my reader like what happened in the end, but also what did I learn? And what can they learn from my story? We want to tell them that, right? Share the lesson. That will be a reflection, and we're going to highlight that light red. All right. Once you have typed the whole thing and you've done your highlighting, you're done with lesson 1, and you're ready to move on to lesson 2.